Dub in the chat. A W. Ah.
For the first time in a decade, the Indiana Fever are sitting 4 games above .500, and they did it without Caitlin Clark touching the floor. Just 3 months ago, even the most optimistic fans wouldn't have believed it possible. Clark, the rookie phenom expected to be the cornerstone of the Fever's playoff hopes, has been sidelined with a stubborn groin injury since mid-July. Most analysts predicted the Fever would slide into irrelevance without her scoring, her vision, and her gravity on the court. Instead, they've done the opposite. They've become a headline machine.
14 20-point games this season in her 8th year. She also has a couple of 30s. And Mitchell trades the 3.
Now have a little bit of an advantage in the paint.
The night it happened wasn't just a win. It was a rewrite of the team's history books. Against a Dallas Wings squad desperate to claw back momentum, the Fever didn't just show up. They dominated in ways that made even longtime WNBA fans shake their heads in disbelief. They shattered not 1, not 2, but 4 franchise records in the same game. It was the kind of performance that forces every other team in the league to reevaluate their scouting reports.
Oh, come on.
The former Dallas Wing, Natasha Howard.
Nobody was looking for this. We think Kelsey Mitchell's going to shoot, but that is the play to make right there. Nobody in the passing lane.
What makes this moment even more electrifying is how they did it. The starting 5 wasn't stacked with familiar stars. This was a lineup patched together with mid-season pickups, role players pushed into bigger spots, and veterans who refused to let the season slip away. The chemistry looked instant, but in reality it was forged in the fire of necessity. When the final buzzer sounded, it wasn't just a scoreboard victory. It was proof that this team's ceiling is much higher than anyone thought back in May.
Wins in a row, a season high. Just how have you been able to find that rhythm over this stretch?
I think it's been about, we've had some practices, and I think practicing has definitely tuned us up, fine-tuning as far as the details. We knew before All-Star that, the second half of the season is always about people making adjustments, people finding ways to stop what we have to do. And I think that on us, we try to do a good job of staying locked in at practices and shoot-arounds and all that kind of stuff to be where we need to be.
When the dust settled, the stat sheets told a story that will be retold in Indiana for years. 4 separate franchise records were broken in a single night. The first belonged to Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard, who became the first teammates in WNBA history to each record at least 10 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in the same game. That's not just a quirky statistical fluke. It's a testament to 2 front-court players controlling every aspect of the game at once. Boston finished with 12 points, 11 boards, and a career high in playmaking, while Howard pulled down a personal best 16 rebounds and still managed to distribute like a guard.
Don't shy away from the defense because they will get out in transition, and Kelsey Mitchell doing what she does. Indiana up in Dallas.
The second and third records came from 2 players who weren't even wearing Fever jerseys a few months ago. Ari McDonald reached 150 career points and 50 assists faster than all but 2 players in franchise history, Caitlin Clark and Tamika Catchings. Chloe Bibby, meanwhile, became the first Fever player ever to hit multiple three-pointers in each of her first 3 games. The 4th record? That elusive +4 above .500 milestone that's been out of reach for a full decade.
They need to keep doing that.
That time, Dejanay went for the steal, and Mitchell kept it away from her. Would not have taken that call so gently, shall we say. Now, Kalani Brown was her buffer last year. Is Mitchell all the way to the hole?
So you stick together, communicate on defense. This is a high-octane offensive team.
Beautiful pass. Mitchell was so sure of that. After she passed it, she started running down the other end.
Before we dive into how these players pulled this off, this is where I have to be direct. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, you're missing out. This channel digs deep into the plays, the stats, and the behind-the-scenes shifts that change the WNBA landscape. Subscribing is free, it takes 1 click, and it tells the algorithm you want more of these stories. Hit the like button so this video reaches more Fever fans, and drop a comment with your take on which of these records impressed you the most. Now, let's break down the front court dominance that set the tone for this night.
Clock, game clock, almost the same. Carrington, the spin move. No foul called.
Boston and Howard didn't just score points. They bent the game to their will. Boston, in her second year, showed the poise of a seasoned veteran, sealing defenders deep in the paint and using her court vision to find open shooters the moment double teams collapsed on her. Every rebound felt like it belonged to her before the ball even hit the rim. Her positioning, her timing, and her anticipation were textbook, and Dallas had no answer.
Go to the basket here, but you got to go up strong right there.
Howard, on the other hand, played like someone who had decided before tip-off that the paint belonged exclusively to her. 16 rebounds in one game is more than just hustle, it's domination. She fought through box outs, snatched boards in traffic, and reset the offense multiple times with her sheer presence under the rim. And she didn't just stop there. Her 5 assists proved she could pull defenders out of position and punish them with pinpoint passing. Together, Boston and Howard were an unshakable wall on defense and an unstoppable force on offense.
You know, finding ways to get wins, and that's going on some scoring bursts. That's being able to rely on multiple players, getting stops when needed, you know, making adjustments and continuing to grow. I mean, this is a group that's been resilient all season long, and I think that we have such quality depth that we can rely on one another, and rely on one another in certain moments.
What's striking is how seamlessly their games complemented each other. Boston drew in the help defense. Howard capitalized on the space. When Howard clogged the lane, Boston spaced just far enough to hit cutters or drop in mid-range floaters. This wasn't just two players having a good night. It was a preview of what the Fever's front court can look like when it's firing on all cylinders.
Stick to your defensive principles. This is an Indiana team that has very nimble on the offensive end.
McDonald from the outside rattles another 3.
And then came the wild cards, Ari McDonald and Chloe Bibby. McDonald, unsigned just months ago, slid into the starting point guard role with an ease that made it seem like she'd been part of this team from day one. Against Dallas, she racked up 15 points and 6 assists, controlling the pace like a chess player controlling the board. She knew when to attack, when to slow it down, and when to put the ball in the hot hand.
She should have looked up and said, "Oh, aren't you an all-star?"
Pass.
And Cunningham completes it.
That's what Indiana does better than anybody in the WNBA.
Bibby's impact was quieter on the box score, but massive in momentum. Every time Dallas threatened to run, Bibby seemed to answer with a perfectly timed three-pointer. Those shots weren't just lucky. Her quick release and willingness to take them forced Dallas to stretch their defense, opening the floor for Boston, Howard, and Mitchell to go to work inside. In just 2 games, she earned a rest-of-season contract, a clear sign the coaching staff saw exactly how valuable her skill set was. Together, McDonald and Bibby brought balance to a roster that could have easily tipped into chaos without Clark. McDonald's steady hand at the point and Bibby's instant spacing changed the geometry of the Fever's offense, making them harder to guard and even harder to predict.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with Ari is that she's dependable, and she's dependable not always for production, but she understands the impact that she can make in the game, and she understands how to do it. You know, starting it on the defensive end, pushing pace, dictating tempo, getting to the rim, creating shots for her teammates. You know, all of those things, and she's got an incredible awareness, and so she understands when she's hot, and she understands when somebody else is hot and how to get them the ball. But I've just been really proud to see her confidence grow in our system and the ownership that she's taking in being that leader on the floor for.
You could feel it in the way they moved. Passes were crisper. Defensive rotations snapped into place. The Fever weren't just reacting to Dallas, they were dictating the terms of the game. That kind of cohesion doesn't happen by accident. It comes from practices where players are locked in, from film sessions where details are drilled until they become instinct.
I'd say Boston, the rebound to Mitchell. McDonald splits the D. Bibby, this is where she's good. She can extend the defense, and she's done it.
for that nice jumper.
Bueckers again, another double-digit game, 6 in the quarter. Here's Bibby, launches, buries the 3.
Bibby, don't do him like that.
Coach Stephanie White's system relies on trust. Trust that every player will be where they're supposed to be. Trust that if you make the extra pass, the shot will be there. That trust showed up on every possession. Even without Clark, there was no hesitation in who would take the big shot. No uncertainty about who was covering the next rotation on defense.
You signed Chloe Bibby to a rest of season contract today. Just what impressed you about her on that 7-day and those 2 games she played in?
Well, number one, just the way that she fit in right away. She gives us a different look from that forward position with her ability to stretch the floor. And particularly in 2 games where we really needed to create space for AB to go to work inside, she was able to do that for us. She came in and she learned the system right away. It just was such an easy transition, and she's produced.
The mid-season roster changes seemed to inject fresh energy into the locker room. Players weren't just filling roles, they were owning them. From the veterans to the newest additions, the Fever were starting to look less like a patchwork team surviving a rough stretch and more like a complete unit hitting its stride.
Watch the attention Boston gets. Opens up a lot for the guards. Here's Boston. Bueckers had nothing she could do. No rebound, Howard. That's rebound number 9 to go along with her 9 points. Beautiful dish inside to Boston.
What we'll do is share the basketball here. Just a little dump down to Boston.
Paige Carrington rolls to the hole. Howard with a rejection.
To the basket here, but you got to go up strong right there.
When a superstar goes down, most teams hope to keep their head above water until she returns. The Fever have done far more than that. They've built a new identity in her absence. They've proven they can share the scoring load, defend as a unit, and win on nights when the free throw count is tilted against them.
That pass outside to Howard.
Oh,
Boston
wow.
at the basket, foul on Haley Jones.
It is not a move her out geographically away from the lane to get her off the basket. Tough rebound there.
Geisel shooter's going to come out. Lee Yu-Ru will check in.
This stretch has forced players like Mitchell, Boston, and Howard to take on leadership roles they might not have leaned into with Clark on the floor. It's made newcomers like McDonald and Bibby integral pieces rather than temporary stopgaps. The result? A deeper, more versatile roster than they had when the season began. When Clark returns, she won't be stepping into the same team she left. She'll be joining a battle-tested group that's already shown it can beat quality opponents without her. That makes the Fever exponentially more dangerous heading into the postseason.
Nobody was looking for this. We think Kelsey Mitchell's going to shoot, but that is the play to make right there. Nobody in the passing lane.
The scariest thing for the rest of the league is this. The Fever aren't peaking. They're still growing. Boston and Howard have unlocked a level of chemistry that could anchor this team for years. Mitchell has quietly built a case as one of the league's most reliable scorers. McDonald and Bibby have proven they can swing games in critical moments.
For us, when we get a chance to really put ourselves in a position to, win games, we got to win them. I think any competitor knows that when we say win them. And I think we took some time off. We had a little drop off today, and I think that's what she's talking about. It was inconsistent. I think we could have been a little bit better.
Imagine adding Caitlin Clark's playmaking and shooting gravity back into that mix. Defenses won't be able to load up on any one player without leaving someone else wide open. And if the Fever can maintain their defensive intensity, they'll have the kind of balance that championship teams are built on. The Fever have turned what could have been a lost month into the foundation for something bigger. If this is the version of Indiana that shows up in the playoffs, healthy, deep, and confident, the WNBA might be looking at a contender no one saw coming back in June.
Obviously, Ari, you only joined this team mid-season, officially on a full contract now. Congratulations. But just the impact that Ari has had overall, how do you feel like?
Oh, it's unbelievable. This is our blessing in disguise. We always tell her that we appreciate her seriously.
4 records in one night, a bench that became a weapon, a front court that made league history, and all of it without the player who was supposed to be the heartbeat of the team. The Fever didn't just survive, they evolved. And when Caitlin Clark returns, she'll be walking into a team that knows exactly who it is and what it can do. If you've watched this far, You clearly follow the game beyond the box scores. That's exactly what this channel is built for. Deep dives, hidden stories, and the plays that change everything. Subscribing keeps you in the loop for every twist in this season, and liking the video tells YouTube that Fever Nation is paying attention. Drop a comment below with your prediction. How far can this roster go when Clark comes back? The WNBA better take notice. Indiana isn't just chasing wins anymore, they're chasing history. And if this momentum holds, the 2025 season could be the year the Fever turn their underdog label into something much more dangerous. Favorites.